pledges also allow children to flourish in a conducive environment. Fresh protests in Gaza as death toll by Israeli firing rises to 60. Bangladesh unofficially declared elected in Israeli action amid worldwide condemnation and concern. Fresh protests in Gaza as death toll by Israeli firing rises to 60. Bangladesh denounces brutal Israeli action amid worldwide condemnation at 10 on BTV, BTV World and BTV Chattogram Center. I am Zoya Zabin. And Pakistan beat Ireland by 5 wickets in lone test.
Just heard the headlines, we have details of those.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome to News at 10 on BTV, BTV World and BTV Chattogram Center. I am Zoya Zabin.
For inclusion of persons with disabilities
and other stories coming up.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has urged the international community for inclusion of persons with disabilities in the development and disaster risk management function of the second international conference on disability. The inaugural function of the second international conference on disability and disaster risk management at Bangladesh International Conference Centre this morning. Now Bangladesh has acquired the capacity to cope with any sort of disaster. And that's why the country has become known as the role model in disaster management. Sheikh Hasina said the conference and recent moves of the global community for inclusion of differently abled persons in the international community was to facilitate this. Bangladesh was taking the lead with the international community to facilitate this important agenda at international, regional, national, local levels. The Premier said father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, had initiated the cyclone preparedness program in Bangladesh in 1972, the first community-based disaster preparedness program in the world. Expressing her government's firm determination to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, by 2030, she said the government was implementing various development programs, placing importance on disaster management plans. To be able to lead, hoped that this conference would be a successful event that would actually lead persons with disabilities in all countries
at the inaugural
to be able to lead. Minister for Disaster Management and Relief,
National Advisory Committee on Autism, presided over the
Saima Wajid Hussain was present. Later, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina enjoyed. Minister for Disaster Management and Relief, Mufazzal Hussain Chaudhry Maya, presided over the function. Later, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina enjoyed a colourful cultural program and then went around and visited different stalls. Goodwill Ambassador for Autism in the Southeast Asia region, Saima Hussain, has urged all to work unitedly at the Bangabandhu International Conference. She made the call while addressing a session titled Disability and Disaster Risk Management in the capital at the Bangabandhu International Conference Centre. Cabinet Secretary in the capital chaired the function, while Carlos Kaiser from Chile and Australian disability expert Samantha Helen French spoke on the occasion. Saima Hussain said sustainable development of social facilities should be ensured, especially for the disabled, to ensure relief and rehabilitation for disabled should be stressed on the post. Especially relief and rehabilitation for disabled should be stressed on the post-disaster time, she added. Commerce Minister Tufail Ahmed urged the business community to expand trade and commerce responsibilities. Was also addressed while addressing a seminar on investment in disaster management in the capital today. FBCCI Senior Vice President Sheikh Fazler Fahim chaired the seminar, which was also addressed by business leaders. Climate Change Affairs Minister Islam Mahmood attended a seminar on innovative and inclusive practices on DRR crisis management actions and climate change adaptation. Forest and Climate Change Affairs Minister Disaster Management and Relief Seminar on innovative and inclusive practices on DRR crisis management, Principal Staff Officer of the Armed Forces Division, Lieutenant General Secretary of the Disaster Management and Relief Ministry, Mohammad Mohsin chaired the seminar, which was in another seminar on disaster Principal Staff Officer of the Armed Forces Division, Lieutenant General Mahfouz for reducing losses after a disaster. The Railways Minister, alongside ensuring their security seminar on disaster case, said it was important to create awareness among the people for reducing losses on security of the specially abled people, alongside ensuring their security disasters. He made the call while addressing a seminar on safety of the disabled people. Rashid Khan Menon emphasized on security of the specially abled people during national disasters. He made the call while addressing a seminar on safety of the disabled people. It was the moral duty of all to give priority to the distressed and physically challenged people in ensuring safety during any Agricultural Minister Mattia Chaudhry in another Bangladesh. It was the moral duty of all to give priority to face natural disasters and physically challenged people in ensuring safety during any natural calamity. She said
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has called upon the people to remain alert against anti-liberation forces so that they can never come to the state of power in future. The Prime Minister made the call while Sheikh Hasina has called upon the people to remain alert against anti-liberation forces this afternoon, so that they can never come to the killers, oppressors, and those who hurled bombs in 500 places in a single day, killed 2 parliament members and those who do not believe in country's independence said the killers, oppressors, and those who hurled bombs in 500 places in a single day, patronized anti-liberation forces and criminals who do not believe in country's independence would never be allowed to ascend to the state of power. Referring to the trial of the those who patronized anti-liberation forces and war criminals cannot ensure the trial is progressing, and she hoped that the verdict would be pronounced by the court soon. To the trial of the barbaric 21st August attack was made to vanish the party. The trial is progressing, the Prime Minister at that time the verdict would be pronounced by the cabinet colleagues were certainly involved in this heinous attack was made to vanish the party coming to power. Zia and Khaleda Minister at that time, the country and to a regime of killers of her cabinet colleagues were certainly involved. The Prime Minister said Bangladesh is now developing day by day, coming to power. Zia and Khaleda both turned the country to a regime of killers. And in this regard, she mentioned with pride the Prime Minister said Bangladesh is now developing day by day and it is marching ahead the space. While its economic development Sheikh Hasina reiterated her resolve in this regard. She mentioned with pride that Bangladesh has already launched its own communications satellite into the space. Without food, Sheikh Hasina reiterated her resolve that not a single person would live without food, shelter and other basic needs. The checks were distributed among families of 69 persons who were killed and injured in the 21st August grenade attack carried out at a peace rally at Bangabandhu Avenue in 2000. Checks of financial assistance were also handed over to noted film actress Maya Ghosh and former central leader of financial assistance were also handed over to noted film actress Maya Ghosh and former central leader of Bangladesh Chhatra League, Musharraf Hussain. President Mohammad Abdul Hamid has urged all, including family, society and state, to play their responsible role to ensure rights of the children and help their inner potentials to flourish in a friendly environment. He made the call while addressing the prize-giving ceremony of National Children Award Competition 2018 at Bangladesh Shishu Academy Auditorium in the capital today. The President also put emphasis on creating patriotism, moral values, morality and moral values in children, and inspiring them to study more books. Referring to the various competitions at the very beginning of student life, President Abdul Hamid called upon the guardians not to pressurize the guardians for study or any other issue. He said this ominous and unequal competition hinders the normal growth of the children. The President said physically challenged children are part and parcel of society. He stressed on the need for bringing them at the mainstream of the society. Mentioning different development activities of the present government, including launching Bangabandhu Satellite 1, President Abdul Hamid expressed hope that the children would play active role to turn Bangladesh into Golden Bangla as dreamt by Bangabandhu. State Minister for Women and Children Affairs Meher Afroz Chumki, Secretary of the Ministry Nasima Begum, Chairman of Bangladesh Shishu Academy Selina Hussain and Director Anjil Litton spoke on the occasion. President Abdul Hamid distributed prizes and medals among the winners of different disciplines of National Children Award Competition 2018. President Abdul Hamid also enjoyed a cultural function of the children. Awami League candidate Talukdar Abdul Khalik has been declared unofficially elected Mayor of Khulna City Corporation. So far, the unofficial result of 286 centres showed that Talukdar Abdul Khalik bagged 176,902 votes, while his rival candidate of BNP Nazrul Islam Manju got 108,956 votes. Election Commission postponed voting for 3 electoral centres out of 289 Islam Manju got voting in the Khulna City Corporation election ended peacefully this afternoon amid stringent security measures and festivity. The voting started at 8 a.m. and continued till 4 p.m. without any break. Election Commission Secretary Helaluddin Ahmed said the Election Commission is happy with Khulna City Corporation election as it was largely held in a peaceful manner. Jashud President and Information Minister Hasanul Haq has said BNP Jamaat and militants must be kept out of power and politics while intrusion of Razakars militants in government service must be stopped. The Information Minister said this while speaking as chief guest at the parents' meeting and prize distribution ceremony of annual The Information Minister said this while speaking as chief guest at the parents' meeting and prize distribution ceremony of annual committee members Mohammad Abdullah, Mirpur Upazila General Secretary Ahmed Ali. Other Jashud leaders and officials also spoke on the occasion. The Information Minister said Ahmed Ali, militants and pro-Pakistani officials also spoke on the occasion. The Information Minister said BNP Jamaat militants will bring good to Bangladesh will no more be allowed to power and politics as keeping them away will bring good to Bangladesh of Poradaha College under Mirpur Upazila. Hasanul inaugurated 4-story academic building of Poradaha College under Mirpur Upazila.
Day after the United States transferred its embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to the Palestinians and has been widely condemned. Most of the 60 Gazans killed Monday were shot by Israeli snipers. The international community blamed the Israeli forces for the The legal status of Jerusalem within the framework of relevant UN resolutions. In a Foreign Ministry statement, Bangladesh reaffirmed its position in favor of establishing the state of Palestine on the basis of the two-state solution and on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. Malaysia's jailed leader Anwar Ibrahim is likely to be freed by tomorrow after the Parliament's Kuala Lumpur meets on the same day to discuss the seven borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. 5-year jail term. He and his supporters say the charges. Malaysia's jailed leader Anwar Ibrahim is likely to be freed by tomorrow after the Parliament's Kuala Lumpur meets on the same day to discuss his release. Mr. Anwar is serving a second 5-year jail term. He and his supporters say the charges were politically motivated. A royal pardon would reverse Mr. Anwar's conviction and make him eligible Security Council to take rapid action on the Rohingya crisis,
which has seen over 7 lakh people driven from their homes in Myanmar.
Nikki Haley has called upon the United Nations Security Council to take rapid action on the Rohingya
to bring an end to the Rohingya crisis.
7 lakh people driven from their homes in Myanmar.
We have
into Bangladesh.
unique tools
The active involvement of the Security Council
to take real steps
towards resolving this crisis.
to bring an
And we
end
have
to the
to use
Rohingya
them,
crisis.
Haley
Without
said.
specifying
We have
sanctions.
unique tools
Haley
to
said the Council
encourage
should move
Burma
quickly
to
to
take
adopt
real
a resolution
steps towards resolving
while
this
acknowledging
crisis.
the inherent
And we
challenges,
have to use them.
as she
Some
said,
members of the Council
without
have kept
specifying
us
if
from
she
taking
actually
action
sanctions.
for cynical and the Council should move quickly to adopt a resolution to challenging the inherent challenges. Resisted a British-led push to the Council to increase pressure on Myanmar. Some members of the Council are responsible from taking attacks and violence for cynical and self-interested reasons.
The USA will provide more than $44 million in additional humanitarian assistance to meet the urgent needs of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh and people affected by violence and conflict in Myanmar. USAID Administrator Mark Green said this while visiting Badukhali Rohingya camp at Ukhia in Cox's Bazar today. US Ambassador to Bangladesh Marsha Banikat was present. USAID sources said this funding brings the total of US humanitarian assistance for displaced people in and from Myanmar to around $300 million since the beginning of the last fiscal year.
And now news from the world of sport. Pakistan beat Ireland by 5 wickets in the only test match in Dublin today. As a result, the Irish started their journey in test cricket with a defeat. Chasing a victory target of 160 runs, Pakistan reached their target, losing 5 wickets in the 5th and last day of the test. Earlier, Ireland started their 50 runs. Pakistan reached second innings with the overnight 5 wickets in the 5th and last day of the test.
7.
Earlier, Ireland started their batting 39 innings with the overnight score. Ireland were all out on 130 runs in their first innings in reply to Pakistan's 310 runs. And now, before we end the news, let's take a look at what's making the headlines here. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina urges inclusion of disabled persons in development process as she inaugurates a national conference on disability and disaster risk management. President Mohammed Abdul Hamid urges all to allow children to flourish in a conducive environment. Awami League mayoral candidate Talukdar Abdul Khalik unofficially declared elected in Khulna City Corporation elections. Fresh protests in Gaza as death toll by Israeli firing rises to 60. Bangladesh denounces brutal Israeli action amid worldwide condemnation and concern. And Pakistan beat Ireland by 5 wickets, the lone test.
That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for